So what's been really incredible to watch is that here domestically, we have these ungrateful Democrats who, they're out there in the streets, they're protesting because a president dares want a safer community for his constituents. And it's very strange because while they're doing that, they're also trying to explain, I'll say America-splain, left-splain, Democrat-splain to all of these other countries how actually Donald Trump is oppressing them. They did it with Venezuela, right? President Trump, with the Maduro capture, they're like, no, actually, let me explain to you why Venezuelans who lived under the dictatorship, the evil dictatorship, whose family members were tortured, who suffered, who you ate dogs in the streets because of the communist regime under Maduro. Let me explain to you why Donald Trump is your oppressor. I mean, these people, we see this happen time and time again. They want to explain to all these poor people in these third world countries why Donald Trump is actually mean to them. And so while they are taking to the streets, protesting Donald Trump, he's so oppressive, he's fascist, he's a dictator, you seemingly all of these other countries who actually are oppressed around the world, it's actually emboldening them. President Trump liberating Venezuela and Venezuelans, President Trump's strength, his peace through strength policy is actually empowering some of these people who have felt oppressed for a very long time by their own dictators, by their own regime. Take Iran, for example. There have been massive protests all around the country. I mean, this has been going on for, I think, several months, maybe a month, call it a month. And it started over the same things that happened in Venezuela. Record high inflation, food prices went up, currency depreciation. They were not happy. They can't afford anything. And it started with President Trump and what he did in Venezuela. It started evolving into this broader movement that these people are like, actually, I want to be free. Actually, I see what freedom is. I'm looking at what's happening in America. I see the leadership with President Trump. I see what he did with Venezuela. And actually, as of course is the case with all of human history, humans inherently have a need, have a desire to be free. No one wants to live under a regime like that. So you have in Iran this evolving into this broader movement demanding an end to the current regime. And one of my favorite videos to come out of all of these protests is these women. They're lighting they're setting a picture of Khomeini, the supreme leader, on fire, and then they're using it to light a cigarette. And there's no hijab. They're out there. They're wearing the clothes that they want to wear. They're not covering their faces. And they are setting pictures of Khomeini on fire, lighting cigarettes with it. And I don't think that here in America, we don't understand how much weight that carries. I mean, that woman could be killed. And she's identifying herself very clearly because she's refusing to wear the hijab. That should go down in the history books. Like, that should be a really important video in history. And now that President Trump had all of his actions against the Venezuelan dictator, these Iran protests have been starting to transform into something bigger, into something deeper. The Iranian people are like, oh, can you help us, liberate us next? Please, President Trump. And now you have Ayatollah Khomeini, who is like, we're not backing down. This is from the New York Times. Iran's supreme leader vows to not back down as protests swell. After days of fierce protest, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei accused protesters of trying to, quote, please President Trump. Iranian authorities signaled further crackdowns on the demonstrations because just as in Venezuela, you're not allowed to protest. Now, here in America, they would claim we don't have the right to protest either. We don't have freedom of speech. No, I mean, you can go protest. You just can't threaten to kill people. You can't drive your car into law enforcement officials or anyone, really. That's a no-no. I mean, what a joke that you guys are complaining about how oppressed you are. These people will get run over. They'll get killed. They can get executed if they speak out against the current regime. And they're doing it. They feel empowered by America. And I keep thinking to myself, I said this when President Trump first got back in office. Actually, I take that back. I said it under the Joe Biden regime, is that you really don't understand. Like, you're taught here in America, you're taught through school that America is the greatest superpower in the entire world, and that America has to be strong for a strong global force. Globally, if America is not strong, bad things happen to the entire world. The ramifications, the ripples are felt throughout the entire world. And you never, like, I knew it. I knew it from reading it. I knew it from learning it in school, but I never really saw in play, in practice, I never really saw through life with my very own eyes how true that was until we moved from a President Trump 1.0 to a Joe Biden regime. And what did we see? We saw wars breaking out. We saw Israel and Iran, or I know you'd say Palestine, but A, that's not a real place. And B, obviously, the true fighter on the other side is, of course, Iran. So you had Israel and Iran. You had Russia and Ukraine. You had all of these things happening all across the globe as a direct result of America being weak, of America's military being weak. Now, what do you see? You have a president who is pushing Russia, pushing Ukraine to negotiate. Hell, Zelensky came to the White House and they sent him home before he even ate his lunch. They were like, oh, the staffers are eating his lunch actually because we said, you don't want to come to the table, bye-bye. Come back when you're ready to actually negotiate. President Trump means business. He extradited the Venezuelan president, but illegitimate president. He extradited the Venezuelan leader because he belonged here with these crazy weapons. I don't know if you guys saw the stories. There was a security guard from Venezuela that came out and said, yeah, actually we've never seen anything like it. We've never felt anything like it. It was some sort of energy weapon where everything hurt. We couldn't hear. We couldn't see. Our noses started bleeding. We were rendered completely incapacitated. Now, totally fine afterwards, but rendered completely incapacitated during the 6 minutes that the American troops came in and took Maduro and left. That is peace through strength. Like, I can't think of anything, first of all, cooler than that. That is totally epic. But this is what the world needs. Everyone needs to be kept in check by what America might do. Now, I don't want to be involved in forever wars, but the fact that we can control making sure that there is peace around the world because of the threat of what America might do is, as it turns out, extremely important to the rest of the world. So President Trump said that he would consider military action if any of these protesters out there in the streets were killed. 500 of them have been killed now. Now, again, I don't want more forever wars, but if you've said it, you need to follow through on something so that they take you seriously. And if you really want to show how peace through strength works, continue with what you did in Venezuela. Because President Trump has gotten more peace in the Middle East than any other prior president. He did it in his first term. He can do it in his second term. Especially with the fact of the matter is that the Iranian regime is already scared. They already want to negotiate. I want to play for you President Trump on Air Force One last night.
The leaders of Iran called they want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States. Iran wants to negotiate, yes.
Negotiate what?
We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up. But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting.
That's what America is supposed to be for. Keep everyone in check. Make sure that these dictators, make sure that these communist dictators aren't killing their own people for protesting. Just peace through strength. That's all that there is to it. By the way, there were people who were here in America protesting the Iranian regime, who were out there like in lockstep with the Iranian people, and someone with a U-Haul drove through the crowd. Gee, I wonder why they did. I wonder if that person has Iranian ties. I wonder what political views that person has. That person needs to have the book thrown at them here in this country, because we have the opportunity to prove to the entire world just how strong and how important America's military actually is.